welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, India's only daily television platform for small businesses. We bring you the right information to empower you, the SME entrepreneur. Tonight on the show, two special conversations in focus. First up is Bafna Motors. On the other side of a break, Hippocabs. Bafna Motors is one of the oldest as well as the largest dealers when it comes to Tata Motors here in Maharashtra. And I spoke with Arjun Bafna. He's the third generation of the family to be involved in the business, about his visions for taking the company forward, the multiple awards that they won over the years, as well as what some of the expansion plans are. Take a listen. Arjun, good having you joining us here today to talk really about what you're doing when it comes to taking a company that's been in existence for almost 5-6 decades now. I want to start by talking about Bafna Motors. You were incorporated in 1956, I understand, and it's been a fairly long journey, and yes. You are the largest authorized dealer when it comes to Tata Motors.
One of the largest.
One of the largest. Yeah. What's that journey been like? Let's start with the inception.
So Bafna Motors was started in 1956, like you mentioned, by my grandfather. I'm the third generation entrepreneur trying to take it forward, let's put it that way. The real growth story happened in the 90s and the 2000s when the market really opened up for the auto business and the commercial vehicle business, where we expanded to multiple territories in Maharashtra. So we're basically a Maharashtra-focused company when it comes to the auto business.
Sure. And
currently we almost sell 12,000 to 13,000 vehicles every year in Maharashtra, only on the commercial vehicle side through Tata Motors. And what I am doing over the last 5 years that I've joined Bafna Motors is trying to innovate and bring my own way of working, so to speak. I am not only limited to selling the vehicle, I'm actually trying to give an entire value chain solution to our customers.
Sure. Let's break down then your association with Bafna Motors. And I want to start by talking to you about how easy or difficult it has been. Like you said, you're the third generation. We talked very often on the Leaders of Tomorrow to businesses where we're talking to the second and third generation of companies and businesses. How have you come in and created a space which is entirely your own within the parent company?
So first I'll start with how easy or hard it has been. It's like any son taking the charge from the father, from a very successful father. It's hard because you have to fit into those shoes. At the same time, it's been easier because I have those resources available with me, and I guess I'm smart enough to use those resources to ensure that I use them to my best capabilities, to ensure that I give the best to my customers and the employees that we have.
Okay, when you're talking about resources, what are the resources that you can tap
into? The infrastructure that has been created, the manpower that has been built over time, the kind of staff strength that we have, the loyalty that we have built with customers over time, those are the resources that has been inherited to me. I have to ensure that I take it forward. So I have to just push it a little bit more.
Okay. How did you start learning about the business? How much time did you spend? Where did you start? Any insights you can give us?
In 2013, I joined Bafna Motors. Before that, I was doing a couple of other businesses. And I started with the service department first, trying to understand what the service department is all like. And that's where the most pain area is in any business. If you can give the service correct, the sales will automatically happen. So my first journey was in the service department, and eventually I took over sales, and eventually I took over the entire company.
Okay. Your age, has it been an advantage or a liability maybe when it comes to whether it's interacting with the outside world, your customers, etc., and telling them that the company is now in good hands, or internally as well, because like you said, you've had people who've perhaps been with the company for a long time. So what was that, how did you tread that fine balance?
So I have been lucky enough to use my age as an advantage. I've always got this young boy entrepreneurial card that I play, and I've got those breaks with customers or with vendors or with different value chain holders in our organization. It has been hard sometimes because it's a little hard for them to take you seriously because you don't have the experience. But then I have the experienced people on board with me, which back me up and completely support whatever decisions we take as a team.
Okay, you mentioned that thinking like an entrepreneur is something that you are doing. Why is that essential for you?
I think that I am an entrepreneur, but at the same time, I think like an investor. They all be somewhat related to auto or logistics. However, at the same time, what gives the maximum return is what I'm looking at.
Okay.
And that's, so it's kind of an investor entrepreneurial way of looking at it. It's just not entrepreneurial.
Okay, let's talk about the business, and I want to talk about some of the segments and some of the verticals that you have. And the first one that I want to talk about is the ABCN manufacturing, which I understand is you're offering it as a, sort of like a one-stop solution or a one-stop platform.
Correct.
Can you talk to us about that?
So ABCN manufacturing is basically a value chain addition, forward integration to our business. When a customer buys a vehicle, he needs the vehicle to be customized according to his application.
Okay.
For example, if he's in the milk business or if he's in the refuse business, so he doesn't need to shop around. He can come to us and then we completely solve his problems at one doorstep.
Okay, and how about Bafna Max?
Bafna Max is where used commercial vehicles come into play. Again, when the owner buys a vehicle, at some point he needs to sell the vehicle. He doesn't need to go to various agents or brokers. He can come to me. I'll give him the best value for the vehicle, and at the same time give a new vehicle in return.
Okay, why? Well, again, you know, if you can just give us a sense of why that perhaps is necessary, because while you are one of the largest in your space, it is also becoming increasingly competitive, the industry that you're working in.
Exactly, you perfectly correctly said it. See, it's becoming competitive. Yeah. Competition is ever increasing, and it's become really hard to actually maintain margins. Hence, we have invested in these ancillary businesses so that we kind of capture the value chain in a way that we make, let's say we make money on all sides. Bafna Motors will sell you the vehicle. ABCN Manufacturing will give you the application depending on what, give you the solution on the application that you want. After the end use of that vehicle, I will buy back that vehicle and give you a new vehicle, restarting the cycle. And at the same time, there is another project called Cargo Connect that I have.
Which we were just going to discuss. Yeah,
correct.
Yeah. How does that work?
Cargo Connect is very simple. All these customers, they want business. They all buy vehicles for business. Through our corporate contacts and through my ABCN logistics wing, I go to OEMs, I go to customers, big factories, MNCs, get that business and pass it on to my customers. So the essential trick is you will buy the vehicle from Bafna Motors, but I will also give you business.
Okay, we're sitting, of course, at the end of FY19. What is the outlook, particularly in an industry, in a business like yours, which is so dependent on how the economy is doing? And we are coming up on the general elections. There's so much happening around the world, Brexit, etc. In terms of pure sentiment for the auto industry and for the cargo industry, can you give us an outlook? So,
the commercial vehicle industry is cyclical. Yeah. It always, every 3 or 4 years, it goes it's up and it's down. Yeah. We are adversely affected with the macroeconomic factors, and currently that's what's affecting us. It has been challenging for the last 6 months since the GVW rules came out from the government, and there is latent demand which is available because of the extra tonnage available. It's going to take some time for it to settle down. However, next year we expect in FY20 for a significant push to come from after Q1 because of the BS6 regulations that are coming in next year. Okay. So we see next year is going to be a good year. Oh,
fantastic. That's always good to hear. Yeah. And of course, by then the elections will be out of the way. The monsoons will come in, which also has an impact on the commercial vehicle.
We hope for a good monsoon.
Yeah. Okay, fantastic. How about funding for this business, for this industry, and not just for yourself as Bafna Motors, but easy or hard?
It used to be easy. However, again, the macroeconomic factors have tightened up the liquidity. Customers are not getting easily funded as they used to. Banks are more stringent, and they have every reason to be. So that is also affecting the business in many ways.
Okay. International expansion plans, are you ready to share that yet with our viewers?
Well, I just got back from New York trying to expand my logistics company out there, and I mean, it just...
Why the US market, I'm curious?
It's very technical.
Okay.
But we want to make sure that we make money on both ends of the pie, like I said. We send a lot of shipments to the US. Why should I pay the money to the agents there when I can have my own company there? Okay. It's as simple as that.
Fantastic. Okay, so we're running out of time on this conversation. And if you can talk to us about any expansion plans that you may have, besides, of course, what we've been discussing.
So our current focus is on the manufacturing business and the logistic business. and that's where we are focusing all our resources and our energies on. There's a huge scope in the logistics business. After GST has come in, there is a lot of ease in the logistics business. That's what at least what we foresee. There's a lot of infrastructure logistics that is happening in the country, which we want to take part in, and that's where our focus is currently on.
All right, wish you all the very best.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time, Arjun. Time for a quick break. On the other side, Jaipur-based Hippocabs is in focus. Just stay tuned. Welcome back. With us here on Leaders of Tomorrow, and tonight Hippocabs is in focus. When we talk about transport solutions, we're often looking at the metros, but Jaipur-based Hippocabs is proving everyone wrong by having a very successful model when it comes to the aggregator space in the transport industry. I caught up with Hippocabs to understand how markets like Jaipur are changing when it comes to innovation and having entrepreneurs like themselves based there. Take a listen. Sagar, good to have you here on the show.
Thank you.
Talking really about a market that's changing very rapidly, and that's as far as the aggregation space is concerned and the aggregator space is concerned, particularly in travel. And you're doing something very exciting. And while we're seeing a lot of the disruption happening in places like Mumbai and Delhi, it's good to have a company that's based here in Jaipur that's doing something so exciting. So maybe we'll start by talking about your journey you've set up 4 years ago. Where did the idea for Hippocabs really come about?
So we started Hippocabs in July 2015, and it's been 3.5 years. So talking about the idea of Hippocabs, so me and Sahil, we both are the co-founders. So when Sahil was returning back to India from Germany after completing his studies, so he landed at Delhi airport and he thought of booking a cab. The cab was costing him around 6,000 to 7,000 rupees only for that single person. So he thought to come through Volvo. He went to Volvo bus stand and then came back to Jaipur. So that experience was not very good for him. So he discussed that idea with me, and we both came to a conclusion that we should start a service in which a person can book a cab from his home to his destination and have to pay just for a seat. So we started a shared cab service between Jaipur-Delhi route. We validated the idea. We went to bus stands. We talked to people with a questionnaire that whether they would like to enjoy this type of service or not. And people were like super happy that of course we would like to at the price that is much cheaper than a Volvo and in a cab, which is much faster. So that's how we started Hippocabs on Jaipur-Delhi route as a shared cab service. Later on, we pivoted from shared cab to the entire one-way cab because shared cab has its own challenges. So then we started other routes of Rajasthan because like it's a benefit for us. We are from Jaipur, so we have an entire setup in Jaipur. So first we focused on entire Rajasthan. Then we moved out of Rajasthan and we covered North India, that is Punjab, Chandigarh, Himachal, Uttarakhand. And then we moved to some part of West India like entire Maharashtra and Gujarat.
You're entirely online?
Yes.
Okay. So how did going about building those capabilities of having the kind of technology that is required to have a service like yours and the kind of advanced technology that's required? What was that sort of experience like, building that and ensuring that you're so different from what exists right now, whether it's an Ola, Uber or a Mero?
First, we hired tech guys, and by God's grace, because it's very difficult in Jaipur to find good techies, but we were fortunate enough to get 2 good backend developers who built the entire platform, entire backend, our website, our app, each and everything. So they are still working with us. They were our first employees. Talking about Uber and Ola, they are more into intercity space, and we are purely intercity cab service, that too specialized in one way. But after we started, Ola and Uber also started their intercity cab service, that is one-way cab service. But that is not a challenge for us because for a customer, it's same. But when we see from backend, the business model is entirely different. Sure. Because what they do, they pay to the drivers the round trip charges, and they charge approximately 60%, 70% from the customer. Rest they are burning from their pocket. But what happened with us, we are directly working with driver partners and vendor partners, and we are providing them the return journey. So that's why they are also able to save the cost, and we are paying them just 50% of the round trip for one-way trip, and we are also charging only that much amount from the customer.
And you've been able to do this entirely on your online platform.
Exactly, because it's only because of the algorithms and tech which we have in place. We have dynamic pricing, just like flight tickets. Our prices are also dynamic. If you'll book it in advance, you'll get a cheaper cab. If you'll book on last moment, the prices will be high. So that's how we are managing the algorithm, and we are managing to set the return rates for our driver partners.
Okay, what perhaps has helped you then, and you were talking of pricing, and pricing obviously in the transport industry is so important. What do you think has helped you have pricing which is lower than the biggies in the market? Is it because you're a small company that you've been able to really garner that share of the market?
Earlier, what we were doing, we were focusing on all the routes. But since we realized that this will not going to work in a longer run, because we are not market leader on any single route. So then we gave it a thought, and we thought, took a route first, let's penetrate on it, be market leader on that route, and then replicate the same model on other routes. So we picked Jaipur-Delhi route. Mostly because that was our first route, and we have a strong hold on that route. So 5 months back, we started working on Jaipur-Delhi route exclusively. Like, we have other routes also running, but we are focusing only on Jaipur-Delhi route in terms of marketing, technology, each and everything. So now we can proudly say that we are the market leaders on Jaipur-Delhi route, and we are doing around 100 trips a day on just Jaipur-Delhi route. So now we want to replicate the same model to other routes. Like in our future plan, the routes like Delhi-Chandigarh, Delhi-Uttarakhand, Delhi-Agra, all these routes are in pipeline.
So a couple of things that I definitely want to talk about in terms of the headlines we've seen in the aggregator space. And the first one is the fact that safety is a huge concern. Unfortunately, most of the headlines of late have spoken about safety of passengers, particularly women passengers who take these cab services. How is that something you've addressed?
That's definitely a point of concern. So what we are doing, first of all, we are verifying all the drivers and vendors on our part, and then according whenever a passenger is taking a ride, so we have a two-step feedback for them. When they onboard the cab, after 30 minutes, they get a call from our call center to ensure that whether each and everything is fine, whether the driver behavior is good, whether the cab is on time, cab condition is good. So that's what we call ongoing feedback. So if a customer is facing any issue at that time, we resolve it at the same point of time by coordinating with the driver and the vendor. After completing the journey, we again call the customer to take their feedback, that we call completed feedback. So we take the entire feedback of the driver, the journey, and on that scale, we are rating the drivers. So we are only providing high-rated drivers to our customers, and whenever we get complaint for any driver, we take immediate action and we ban them from our fleet. Okay.
Perhaps the second thing that we're seeing, and again, unfortunately, it's turned out to be some bit of negative, really, headlines and feedback that the aggregator space is seeing is in terms of the vendors and the vendor partners, really, the cab drivers, and maybe the fares or the sort of working conditions that they're working under. And the remuneration really coming to them for each ride that they are undertaking. How have you managed that at Hippocabs?
With us, we are able to provide the return trips to our drivers and vendors. So they are happy working with us. We release their payment on weekly basis, and we audit their cabs on regular basis. We ask them to come to our office, and we have a team dedicated for this. They audit the entire cab, they check the safety measures and each and everything, and that's how we are managing all these things.
What has been the biggest opportunity for you being based in a city like Jaipur, and what perhaps has been a challenge, and how have you managed to overcome that? Sort of some advice that you can give our viewers.
It was very easy for us to set a business in Jaipur because we have the entire infrastructure. We started from our home basement so that we don't have to pay anything for rent, and it was very easy for us to hire people within Jaipur.
Okay, so for someone who's watching this interview then to say that they're not based in the metros but are based in cities like, say, Jaipur, your advice to them about how to leverage the advantages of being based in a city like this?
Be it Jaipur or be it any other city, firstly, you have the advantage of having the network in that city. because you belong to that city, and if you will move to any metro city, the expenses will be very high, which a startup cannot afford in initial days, because we were also bootstrapped for 3 years and we have to bear all the expenses from our pocket. So it's very important to save money and to working in your city.
Okay, so you were talking about the fact that you bootstrapped, and my next question is that you're now being incubated by the government of Rajasthan, but you spent your initial couple of years being bootstrapped.
Yes.
Why was that?
So it's like initially we were bootstrapping because we didn't need that fund in initial 1 year. Later on, we thought of raising the money, but then we gave it a thought that this is not the right time. First of all, let's have traction on our website, on our app. Let's prove the numbers to the investors, then go for investment. Unlike Uber and Ola, we are not burning on each and every ride. We are earning on each and every ride. It's operationally profitable.
Sure.
And like last year only, we raised our first round of funding.
I want to talk about how this market has been changing. We've been talking about Ola and Uber all along, but you have, somewhat of a competitor, if I can call them that, which is based in Ahmedabad. You have, an aggregator like yourself, a local aggregator like yourself, AHA, in New Delhi as well. So this market is definitely changing. What perhaps is leading to these changes? How do you see this market changing?
Branding and marketing is a very important aspect for every company, be it a startup or be it a traditional business. Because even if you have a super product and you don't market it to the people, they'll not get to know about it. And that's what we faced. Earlier, we were using only like Google and Facebook as marketing platforms. Till now, we are not doing offline marketing because offline marketing takes a lot of budget that we were not having earlier. But now we are planning to do it. But yes, I will say that in online marketing, we are doing pretty much good, and we are present in all the media channels which are available for marketing online. Now we are also focusing on having cab branding, because that's give you a brand image. So that's why offline marketing is very important, and now we are entering into offline marketing.
Okay, and wish you all the very best. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for your time here on the Leaders of Tomorrow. That's our show tonight. If you have any feedback for us, here's how you get in touch. leadersoftomorrowtimesgroup.com is our email ID. Reach us also on social media, Sunanda_J or LOT_ET now, or on Facebook, Leaders of Tomorrow on ET now. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.